also saw Ukraine fire American and British long-range missiles into Russia for the first time. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky called for world leaders to give a serious response so that Putin feels the real consequences of his actions. Joining us live from Odesa is Michael Bociurkiw, Senior Fellow at the Atlantic Council and Global Affairs Analyst. Thank you very much indeed for being with us. So can you tell us what the situation is on the ground now since this announcement from President Putin?
Right. So the situation here is quite confused because when President Putin came on with the announcement, there were a lot of fears here that there would be a massive escalation and missile attack. But we have not really seen that. But what is a very, very big concern here is the new use of these types of weapons. I mean, reports via Ukrainian media suggest that the missile that was fired by Russia, the so-called test missile, traveled at about 3 kilometers a second, and that its impact was equivalent to something like an asteroid. The other thing that is happening that is not being reported too much is the new types of drones that are being used, when they come here and explode, they use tungsten ball bearings that have massive destructive powers. And also there are others that have a lot of kinetic energy when they crash and cause a lot of destruction as well.
So is the concern that that these weapons will be used again and there'll be further attacks using them?
Absolutely. Ukraine is very much on edge at the moment because no one seems to know what is going to happen next. But I can tell you one thing, Lauren, is that the weather is changing for the worse throughout Ukraine. We're going to be hardly above 0 Celsius the next days. And I think the Russians know exactly what they're doing. They're targeting when Ukraine is most vulnerable, targeting those very power stations that provide light and provide heating. So I think their long-range goal, and it's difficult to get into a messed up head like Mr. Putin's, but is to cause a humanitarian crisis and trigger another wave of asylum seekers out of Ukraine.
And how do you expect the new Trump presidency to affect the course of the war?
Well, I think we are actually seeing a lot of action right now from the Biden administration ahead of the incoming Trump administration. Let's remember that Mr. Trump said he would solve this crisis within 24 hours. Well, he's been president-elect for some time and nothing has happened. In fact, it's gotten worse. Having said that, a lot of us in this space feel that the aid that is coming in from the Biden administration, including the permission to use those ATACMS deeper into Russia, has been too little too late. And in the course of the past weeks and months, the lack of action from the American side has in a way been escalatory, because if your aggressor is very aggressive and you don't do much in return, which the U.S. hasn't, he will become even more aggressive. And I don't think I and others think that this is unprecedented in modern warfare. So hence, the Russians don't see many red lines. They cross it day after day. And that's how we've landed in such a terrible situation, how Ukraine is very on edge right now.
And we've heard from the U.S. Defense Secretary about the presence of the North Korean troops and what they might do next. How is that being viewed in Ukraine?
I don't think people here are taking it that seriously, but they are, of course, paying attention to what's happening in Kursk. There's a feeling that the footprint of Ukraine there will shrink very quickly, and Ukraine is not doing very well on the front line. But, you know, in the wider picture, there is also concern, especially in Asia-Pacific, Lauren, that these troops would, if they even survive the Russian meat grinder approach to fighting this war, that they'll go back to North Korea and use their expertise there. But it doesn't seem to be going well for them. We've read reports in Ukrainian media this morning of a senior North Korean general being killed and of others being killed as well. So there wasn't much time for them to gain training, but let's see how long they survive in that terrible, terrible situation.
Michael Bociurkiw, thank you very much indeed for joining us. Thank you.
Thank you.